Hi guys, Aceface back with another video for you, and welcome to Wargaming Weekly, the weekly show where we go through all the news, rumours, tournament information, you name it, we'll talk about it. And I've got an extra special episode for you this evening. I just wanted to say before I start, thank you very much for everybody that tried to join us this evening in the live show. Unfortunately, it just wasn't to be. The connection was really poor, kept dropping out. Couldn't get the sound to go through properly. It just wasn't playing ball. So really disappointed, because I would love to have chatted to a few people in the chat. But you know, hopefully the Wargaming Weekly live will return. Probably, well, it won't be next week, but the week after. Fingers crossed. But thank you very much everyone that joined and sort of stuck around and tried to sort of persist as we fought through the gremlins in the works. So I'm going to do the show recorded and get it out to you as soon as possible. So as always, please do check out Wargames for all your hobby goodness. You know, they are absolutely the best place to get all your hobby stuff. So check the link down below for there. As far as news and rumours, I'm not going to go heavily into them this week, just because we've got loads and loads to cover, and I don't want the show to be too long, because I've actually got an awful lot to do in a very short period of time, as we'll talk about in a little bit. So what I want to focus on this week overall is I want to talk about No Retreat, and then I want to talk a little bit about the Las Vegas Open afterwards. So starting off with the No Retreat, so I'll tell you the list that I took, I'll tell you how I got on. I'm guessing a few of you probably know, but I'll go through a little bit of details. So we arrived on Friday. As always, everything is really well organised. Stephen and the team from SM Battle Reports do everything they possibly can to make sure that it is not just a tournament, not just an event, but a real retreat and a holiday and an awesome experience. So you're met at the airport, you're taken to the retreat. They make sure everything's catered for you. It's a lovely place to stay, beautiful views, really good. So we got up there, we said hello to a few people, we went out that evening. They had some live music they put on for us, and had some bites to eat, and a few people had some practice games, which was incredible. So it was a great sort of starting day. Everyone was really in a good mood, in a great place. We rocked into the Saturday, and we already knew who we were playing for our first rounds. We had a bit of a briefing, went through a few of the rules and some bits around the boards and the terrain. Again, really well organised, very slick. The guys know exactly what they're doing. They're real professionals at it now. So there's no issues at all. It just flies through. And then we started off. So I'll go through my list for you guys, because I know people are dying to know what the list was. So I took Farsight Enclave's Tau army, and that consisted of my HQ was a commander in Iridium battle suit. He had drone commander, he had the talisman to give him a +2 to deny the witch within a bubble of him. He also had the mirror codex I think it's called, and it's a great little relic that gives you potentially preferred enemy, again within a bubble, but the big thing it gives you is it gives you +1 to seize the initiative, which is a huge thing when you really want to go first. I also had Feel No Pain on him, and he had drone controller, which I've already said, so drone controller. So he was kind of kitted out, not for shooting, for very much buffing, but not in your conventional buff commander way. So he sit there and he had 2 drones with him. For troops, I took 2 crisis suits. Obviously they have to have their bonding knives. I took double flamers on both, and that was it, bare bones, just single ones on their own, cheap and cheerful. They filled up my troops choices. In the fast attack I had a Wyvara. He had the stimulant injectors but no other upgrades. I think the Feel No Pain for the Wyvara is absolutely essential. And then in the heavy slot I had 2 Skyray ships, Skyray flyer things, not flyers, gunships, that's what I was looking for. 2 Skyray gunships. Again, no upgrades on them, just bare basics, just to give me a bit of anti-air and some strength 8 generally, which I was kind of lacking potentially in the rest of the army. So that was my CAD as such. And then I had a Riptide wing. I had a Riptide wing with 5 Riptides, which is always my favourite kind of loadout, with a unit of 3, and that unit had all burst cannons. They had 2 of them had split fire, so I had the target lock. One of them had the Overwatch at ballistic skill 2. They all had interceptor. So really nice, solid. They had smart missile systems as a secondary weapon system. Then I had 2 single Riptides. The first one was my Ion Tide. He had the Plasma as a secondary weapon, again Overwatch at ballistic skill 2, and again interceptor. And then the final Riptide had a heavy burst cannon. He again had the smart missile systems as his secondary weapons. He had interceptor and he had Overwatch at ballistic skill 2. So really the idea with these guys is they're just going to put out an awful lot of fire. They're going to be the heavy lifters, but they've got the resiliency of potentially, things try and get close to them. They're going to support and fire them at ballistic skill 2 and hopefully stop things from getting into combat. That was kind of the plan for it. In fact, the one thing I did miss out was the commander also had Neurojammer thing to give basically 1 unit. It gets hot within 12. Even though I didn't use it, forgot about it all weekend. So there you go, amateur hour there. So that was the list, and that was pretty much 1750, more or less perfect. I think it came in at 1 point less. So that was the list. And my first round opponent was a guy called Dave, lovely chap, really nice guy. He's been to No Retreat before. He's got a really beautiful Space Marine army. He was rocking quite a lot of grav, so he had a Skyhammer. His Skyhammer had 1 unit grav, 1 unit of melter. He had them in big units, so he had them in 10-man units, so he could combat squad them, which is quite clever, different way of doing it. And then he had 2 small assault marine squads, an eviscerator in both of the squads. Other than that, basic. He had the new flyer, the new kind of attack fighter. He had a couple of Thunderfire cannons, I believe. Definitely 1, might have been 2. Yeah, I think he had 2. He had some scouts, and he had a unit of Centurions with his Warlord with a shield, and he had a Vindicator Destroyer. So he had a really strong, powerful list, quite a lot of variety, quite a lot of manoeuvrability with drop pods coming in, and then the flyers and the scouts to infiltrate. So he had a bit of everything, a really good list. And he got first turn, and that's really brutal because that was one thing I didn't want. So he got first turn. He dropped down. He was probably a bit cautious with some of his stuff, so he dropped the Centurions in where they needed to be, but some of the Skyhammer was a little bit defensive, and that might have caused him trouble a little bit because he didn't manage to be able to get all of the grav in first rounds. So he melted the Wyvara straight away, so he killed him off, and that was his #1 target. And that was pretty much his first turn, but he could have done a lot more damage if potentially the grav was in. So then I had my first turn. I charged up the Hellfire rounds, everything was pretty much within range. I got preferred enemy, and I just pretty much gunned down all of his Centurions, majority of his Skyhammer. In fact, just a kind of point of note, I didn't really intercept. So the only thing I intercept was my Ion Tide, who had got rid of his unit of Melter from his Skyhammer to stop him from taking out one of the Sky Rays. But that was about it. So I took out quite a lot. And then I kind of, after I got through the first turn and got rid of some of the nasty grav, I was then able to sort of have an easier time of it. So I kind of got out of my deployment zone, started spreading out, started jumping around, seeing off some of the smaller units, positioning myself to start to take the objectives. It was kind of your standard sort of 4 objectives, and I was starting to get the Maelstrom. In fact, Dave did do incredibly well at Maelstrom. Because he had first turn, he racked up loads and loads of Maelstrom points. In fact, he got 11 Maelstrom points from the first turn, because it was the mission where you had 6 objectives, 6 Maelstrom cards. So there was that. But I slowly chipped away, weakened him, so he had very little left. And took the primary quite convincingly, lost the secondary to him, and took the tertiary. So I won primary and I won tertiary, lost the secondary. But it was a good fun game, great kick-off to the event. He was a top lad to play, so it was good fun. So they go into the second game. So the second game I played James, aka Little Dragon, that he's being lovingly called. James is one of the guys from Tabletop Tactics, and he had my absolute kryptonite. He had the most dangerous list that I could play. He had massive grav spam. So he had 3 units of grav centurions in drop pods. He had the Skyhammer Annihilation with 1 unit of grav and 1 unit not of grav. That was the majority of his army, to be really brutally honest. He didn't have very much else. Had some tactical marines again in sort of drop pods, so his army was like a null deploy army, so it all came in. But the majority of the body of his army was all around these drop podding centurions with tons of grav, so he had hundreds of shots of grav. Thankfully this time I did get first turn, so I got first turn, I charged up everything, I rolled and got preferred enemy as well, from the Mirror Codex, which was great. He dropped in and I rolled so hot, absolutely. I killed 3/4 of the grav with the interceptor, absolutely annihilated half his army, and then after that, in return, he still managed to kill, he killed 2 Riptides with 1/4 of his grav left straight away in return. But that wasn't enough, because then I could start cleaning him away. I got the Wyvara first turn well out of range, so I chucked him over the other side, so if they were going to go after him, they weren't going to be going after the rest of the Riptides. So then the Wyvara then slowly but surely got back in contention, started wiping out the rest of his guys, and I took it really quite convincingly. I didn't table, but it was very close. I was pretty much ripping him apart. So I took all of the points in that one. So it was a really good victory. But we talked about it long and hard, and actually the reality is if he had first turn, I wouldn't have stood a chance. So I went into that, took that, and that was my hardest matchup as such. So my third game was against Sean, good friend of mine, been on the channel, you've seen him play as Admech. He's got a lovely Ultramarine army that's kind of a bit of a work in progress, it's building up, but it's looking beautiful, so it was looking great. It wasn't an optimised list, it was a very kind of, it was almost a bit like a battle company in the fact that it was loads of objective secure troops, but it was just a CAD, so it was maxed out on objective secure, all tactical marines with like a grav cannon in each one. And then a couple of units of Devastators, 1 full maxed out Devastator unit of grav, and then 1 with a couple in there that he put in a Rhino. So it was kind of quite a varied, and he had a Knight as well. So it was a good list, it was a solid list. We played the Relic as the primary, and I think 3 Maelstrom cards as the secondary. So it was a really tough game. I had first turn, I did charge up. When I failed a few Novas, but when he dropped in, I really didn't do hardly any damage at all, which really caused me trouble then, because I lost a round of shooting from the interceptor. So then he had another turn to kind of return fire. Again, he took out the Wyvara pretty quick. So it was pretty brutal, to be fair. It was a frightening game. I did grind it out. In the end, he did take the tertiary off me, or we drew the tertiary, but I took maximum points. Eventually I just managed to take it, blocking his Knight off last turn and holding that Relic. So it was a real kind of crucial game, very tight, very difficult, but that gave me 3 out of 3 for the Saturday. So we rolled into Sunday, and I played, my first game on Sunday was against another one of the Tabletop Tactics guys. So I played Mike. or the pastry chef, as they lovingly call him. He had a really cool Necron list. It was a very offensive, assault-heavy Necron list. So it had the Praetorian formation. We got the Stalker and the 2 lots of Praetorians. So he had 2 big units of Praetorians, and then he had 2 big units of Wraiths. And the idea was obviously basically just run at you. Now I got first turn again, and the board was quite good for me because there wasn't loads of line of sight blocking. So I lined up and I just did the Hellfire rounds first of all, chipped away at quite a lot of the units. He got as far forward as he could. I then shot again, and then managed to pretty much take all the threat out. And then it was just a battle for the objectives, and it was actually quite close. In the end, I took the primary, I took the secondary, and I think we drew the tertiary. So yeah, but it was quite close. That didn't really kind of say the exact story, but it was actually a very, very close game. A lot of fun. Mike was a gentleman. I made a couple of mistakes that he absolutely allowed me to do, which I always say, you know, props to that, because not in the heat of a tournament will people often let you get away with making a mistake, and he was a gentleman to the end, so fair play to him. Really, really good fun game. And then I rocked into my last game. So my last game ended up was going to be with Eldar against a chap called Max. Really, really nice lad. He goes to a lot of the events I've seen him at. He's been to both of the 2 events that we do at Wargames. He's got a lovely Eldar force. He's slowly becoming a really kind of good competitive tournament player. He's learning more and more at each tournament he goes to, and he done really, really well coming into the last game as well on 4 victories. He had a very, very dirty list. Scatach Wraith Knight, 2 Warp Hunters, loads of scatter bikes, and then he had D-Scythes with Eldrad, do it basically so he could scout forward and get them out and do their nasty flaming stuff. So a really cool tactic. And a very, very powerful list. And on top of that, he got first turn. I didn't seize off him. He also had the best deployment side, and he got invisibility with Eldrad. So I was quite frightened. But, and here's the big but, he absolutely messed up his first turn. And that wasn't his fault. The luck just was not with him. He just couldn't get anything to stick. Everything scattered off or didn't do any damage. So he didn't really cause any trouble at all. And then obviously in return, I then charged up everything, as I did again, took out a lot of his scatter bikes, took out one of the Warp Hunters, and yeah, just really caused him so much trouble that it was quite hard for him to come back. And then he again sort of came back at me, did a bit of damage. I think he killed one of the Riptides, but again just not enough damage. So then again when I returned fire, I killed off another big chunk of his army, so he had very little left. It was the Crusade, or Emperor's Will, so 1 objective in my half, 1 in his half. So I dropped in my Crisis Suits in behind his enemy lines. He didn't really have anything really to come back at that point because I'd taken out most of his bikes. So in the end I took the victory, and where is it? Let me go over here, and I took the title. So yeah, champion. So really, really, really happy. It was an incredible event. Absolutely awesome. Some brilliant players. Some great looking armies. A pleasure to be involved in, and really, really nice to take the title home. So obviously the title was held by Lawrence the last 3 times. So it was good to kind of come in there and knock him off his throne. I know Lawrence, and he'll be back hungrier and more keen to take that title next time. I think he had a couple of really unlucky games which just took him out of contention, but he'll be back, there's no doubt about that. So yeah, so really absolute amazing tournament. Thank you for everybody that's kind of congratulated me and all the kind words. Really appreciate it. And again, I know the guys in the chat earlier were, saying, well done and what have you. So thank you to you guys as well. So, but yeah, awesome event. And we roll on to the LVO. So the LVO is now less than a week away. I've got one more day before I will be getting my stuff packed up, and then I'll be flying out to Vegas on Wednesday this week. And we will take part in the biggest event in the 40k calendar. And of course, as you know guys, I will be taking back out the Tyranids, Glutton for Punishment. I currently want a few bit of tweaks happening. There's been a couple of mistakes with the scorings, but I'm currently sitting second for Tyranids in the world. With a good chance of potentially taking that top spot. So that will be the plan going into Vegas. And I'm going to let you know my list, which is risky potentially, but you guys won't tell anyone, will you? You won't tell anyone, no? Promise? Okay. So I'm going to take, wait for it, I'm going to take 3 Flyrants, kitted out in their normal way, and I'm going to take a Tervigan with attacks, and I'm going to take a Mucilid Spore, and then I'm going to take a not one, I'm going to take a Malanthrope as well, but I'm going to take not one but 2 Subterranean Uprisings from the Cult Genestealer book, and I'm going to min-max them out. And basically the tactic I'll be going for is just massive distractions. So we're going to get in their face, we're going to hopefully buy some time for the Tyrants, and we're going to try and cause an upset and see how far we go. So I think it's going to be a really strong list. I'll put a lot of thought into really kind of getting it good. Thank you very much to Aaron from Shamrock Studios for painting all my little cultists or acolytes or whatever they are. They're going to come into good use. And a big thank you to Ravensblade for painting them awesome trucks. There'll be showcase videos on all my cult coming up very soon. But yeah, so that's the army that I'm taking. We'll do more about it when I get back. I'll let you know how. I'll take loads of pictures, we'll do a little bit of a montage and what have you, and show you how you get on. But yeah, it's going to be big, as I say. It's going to be big. Yeah. So hopefully you'll be with me, and you'll be following me on Facebook and on Instagram, and checking out the journey as we go back to Vegas and see whether we can do a little bit better than last time. And you never know, fingers crossed, take that title home for the Tyranids, and see whether we can cause an upset and get in there on the top of the pile. But yeah, so again guys, this has been a bit of a ad hoc video, and sorry if there's been maybe a little bit of a lack of energy, as I should be jumping through the ceiling with such an awesome victory. But I'm very tired. It's been an awesome weekend, and obviously I've tried to record this 3 times over where I've tried to do it live as I'm looking at the screen in frustration. But thank you very much for watching guys, really appreciate it. Please do share this video everywhere, do your thing, spread the words, spread the love, and until next week, I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.